is up, my friends? Welcome to another episode of Fax Me Live here on Fax Me TV. I am your host, Stephen Lancaster. And I apologize, guys. I didn't do a live yesterday, and I was actually questioning whether or not I was going to be able to do it today. But it is Memorial Day weekend here in Jacksonville, North Carolina, and we are very, very busy. Of course, you guys know I do the majority of my lives sitting here at the store. So yesterday I was so slammed with people. The only thing I could really work on was my productions, you know, the dance videos and stuff like that, parody stuff, music, things I could do in headphones. I really couldn't do a whole lot of filming yesterday. So today I'm giving it a shot. Saturdays, we generally don't get busier until later in the day. So hopefully I won't have to stop doing this. But on today's show, we're going to cover quite a bit. I want to go back to Victor Marx and the interview / quasi debate that him and Candace Owens did. She had him on her show, and you know, she tried to paint him as a bad person. And you know, us critical thinkers, we know better. You can, at this point, you can just watch Candace and you can predict every single move she's going to make. You can tell that she wasn't expecting him to be confident, and wasn't expecting him to kind of throw it back at her and put these questions into her lap, which if you guys watched the entire episode, all she did was deflect and try to avoid, and this is my show and you're not interviewing me, you know, that kind of thing. Which, if you guys remember, I made the comment that this is why she doesn't debate. You know, this is why she'll throw out an invitation for all of us to debate her, and then when we say yes, she blocks us and runs away. Well, we're going to be talking a little bit about Victor. There's another segment from that episode I want to show, because I did some research into what Candace was claiming and found out that, you know what, Victor wasn't the only one posting about Charlie's death before Charlie's death. In fact, I used myself as a reference point. We'll be going over that today. We're also going to be talking about Candace Owens and these other very questionable, disgusting podcasters and influencers, and how the government is slowly taking steps into monitoring these people. You know, we've always had these hunches that they're being looked at, but these names are popping up more and more now as being investigated, as being researched. These names, Candace Owens, Andrew Tate, you know, they're all being watched, basically. You know, so that's not good. That's not good. You know, Candace loves it because she's a narcissist and it just makes her center of attention. But this is not the kind of attention that you want. So we're going to be discussing that. We're going to be discussing a case study that was performed on the Charlie Kirk assassination and how people have interpreted it and why they have interpreted it the way that they have. And that kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier about the White House cracking down on domestic terrorism and cyber terrorism and things like that. I'm going to share a private message between my wife and I when everything was going down with Charlie, and that will coincide with the part about Victor Marx. Also going to be discussing the top 10 foreign spenders as far as U.S. lobbying and influence. We're going to talk about that because this is something that Candace Owens and these, you know, Megyn Kelly and Tucker Carlson, the redneck guy, I can't ever remember his name, but he's friends with Candace. Actually, there's a clip we're going to show from when he had Candace on his show talking about Israel spending money on the United States. So we're going to be covering that a little bit because a lot of that is misleading. You know, these grifters are trying to make it out like Israel is spending more on U.S. lobbying and influence than anybody else, and that is simply not true. Now, if you only listen to Candace Owens and you're one of her blind followers, then you absolutely believe that. But I'm going to show you the facts today so you can come to your own conclusion. What else do we have on the plate? Got a couple surprise videos I'm going to be playing for you guys. Some of you, I'm sure, have seen them on Facebook or YouTube already. But I know some of you guys just kind of tune into the lives. So we're gonna go through that as well. But I want to start out today with the Victor Marx thing. And I want you, first and foremost, I want to tell you where I stand on Victor Marx. I've always liked Victor Marx. I think he's a very confident, intelligent guy. He does a lot of good things for people. And if you notice a pattern with Candace Owens is she lifts up and platforms the disgusting people, right? Andrew Tate, Harvey Weinstein, Russell Brand, more recently, Hunter Biden. You know, these are the only people that will feed her ego because she's just as disgusting as they are. So she doesn't get any real credible people on her show anymore. As a matter of fact, the last credible person she had on her show was Victor Marx. And that kind of backfired on her. Yeah, her audience is saying, oh, she destroyed Victor Marx. No, she didn't. No, she didn't. Okay. She didn't expose anything about Victor Marx. You know, if you guys are believing that, you watched the same thing I did, which is funny because that's what you're saying to me on my videos about that interview is, did you watch the same thing we did? Candace handed his ass to him. No, she didn't. No, she didn't. He backed her in a corner just about with everything. And I thought he answered her questions very eloquently. He didn't get all butthurt and upset like Candace did. I mean, Candace cannot hide it at all. You know, if there's one thing I think we all can agree on, Candace would not make a good poker player. Period. But one of the things, you know, I wanted to point out that has really impressed me about Victor Marx is that he founded and expanded a very large anti-human trafficking rescue organization, All Things Possible Ministries, right? And, you know, Candace doesn't like the fact that there's people out there helping people. And she certainly doesn't like the fact that Charlie viewed Victor as a spiritual mentor. And you guys probably seen the meme I made the other day, which you guys are seeing on the screen now, which shows that quote. And he's actually physically said that as well. And I'm going to play it for you here in a minute. But Victor's group focuses on child rescue operations, trauma recovery, veteran support, something we need more of. And just overall humanitarian missions in dangerous regions of the world. And you're going to try to paint this man as bad. Get out of here, Candace. Nobody with an inkling of sense is going to listen to you. But Victor is widely known internationally and in evangelical and anti-trafficking circles. He's well known. This is great. You know, I don't see how anybody could argue that what he's doing is not good. You know, and even in that episode, Candace tried to say he was lying on his website. You didn't save X amount of people, da 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 da. And he was saying he helped that many people. You know, help is subjective. Whether it's standing there praying with them, somebody may view that as help. Whether it's pulling them out of a dangerous situation, somebody may view that as help. Candace doesn't. You know, she takes any little thing and tries to find the negative in it, which is such a toxic trait. But I want to play this segment of her. Let me bring it up here on the screen. And then I'm going to break it up a little bit because there's a couple things I want to comment on. But we'll do that. We'll start this out. I'll come back with some comments. We'll continue on and we'll just keep going. So check this out, guys.
Hey everybody, it's the Charlie Kirk Show. Victor Marx, a friend of mine and a spiritual mentor.
Victor Marx regularly puts himself into harm's way to reach children and women who are victims of trauma.
Victor Marx is just amazing. Anti-child sex trafficking all across the world, one of the most powerful ministries, and someone who loves the Lord. I'll tell you what, in a world where it's hard to find strong men, Victor Marx is one of them. So please join me in welcoming the great Victor Marx.
I came from abuse, violence, survival, but that wasn't the end of my story.
I mean, you guys are saving kids all over the world now.
Over 100 missions complete. With trauma care or help, over 45,000 women and children.
That is maybe the most powerful thing I've heard in this room.
Over the last 20 years, my team and I, we've dedicated our lives to rescuing women and children where hope feels impossible.
Marine veteran and missionary Victor Marx.
Good morning.
Hey,
Good
Victor,
morning.
good
Good
to
to
see
see
you.
you. Our next mission is right here at home. It was never about recognition. It's always been about helping those in need.
So I'm Catholic. So the idea of you not being a priest and being able to exorcise demons is something that I'm interested in.
Yeah.
So I would just like to know
Sure.
who sort of granted you that authority. When did you start doing that?
Yeah, well, you believe in good and evil, right?
Mm-hmm.
And do you believe that demons actually exist?
Of course.
And for us, and what I've studied in the Word and over the years, is demons' main focus is to attack a human's mind through lies. The Bible says that Satan is the father of lies. And that's what often compels and then drives people to do things they probably would never do otherwise. I was very interested in this as a new believer in the Marine Corps to find out, why are people so evil? Why did such horrible things happen to me as a kid? And the only way that I got a solid worldview is to understand good and evil exist. And that is why Christ came to earth. And then that through his word and what he said in his death on the cross, we could be born again. We could be set free from our old nature. We're made perfect before God, but we still have to live our life out. And it's not in perfection. But he gave us all authority. He said, I give you authority to trample serpents, to cast out demons. And I actually believe it. So what really put me in that place was I think my introduction to helping kids who are in youth prisons who struggled tremendously. Oftentimes kids who had killed, murdered, raped, tortured people. I dealt with some of the most severe cases. And why God put me there, I don't know. He just gave me a love for them to bring them hope. And it was there that many of them asked for prayer. And when I prayed for them, they would often manifest demonic influence or oppression. And the Lord taught me how to pray with authority. I go into detail about it. There's a film that we made that clearly communicates what we believe our position is in Christ, our authority is in Christ, and how to set people free. And probably the difference between me and maybe others that, have done stuff is we don't charge people to set them free. We do this out of love. There's no financial benefit for it, especially kids who are incarcerated. But I have over 6,000 letters here in our headquarters of kids that we've written, we've corresponded back and forth, that really were helped in this. So while I believe in the power of Christ and the Word of God, and I appreciate the Catholic Church and their hierarchy of who can and can't, pray for and do exorcisms, I didn't have access to that. And I started dealing with a lot of people, and I have over the years. You bring up Corby and his wife, Melody. If you talk to her, she says me praying for her, which didn't take long. We're talking 10, 15 minutes is the average time of prayer. It's not dramatic. Nobody's hurt. There's not manifestation. It's just using the power of Christ, praying for someone, and we love and care for them because that's what Christ does.
But you do say that you can command the demons, then that you can speak to the demons and ask the demons what their names are and things of that nature.
Absolutely.
So you believe you can do that?
I believe I can do what Christ did and said we would do also. He was the one that spoke directly to demons, told them where to go. He's the one that asked them their names.
Yeah, he's Christ. Yeah.
Yeah. And he said, my followers would be able to even do more than me. So I'll tell you, I just believe it. And we've seen it with thousands of people. And again, there's a film we encourage people to watch. They can watch it for free. It's The Unseen War. And churches use that. People of all faiths use that to understand that there actually really is power. And I've prayed for people who are believers, non-believers, Muslims. It doesn't matter. Humanity is under assault
I'm happy
and attack.
to accept that that's your philosophy, but you also believe that you can command angels.
I believe that angels are assigned to us and that we can, by the authority of Christ, command angels to help us in whatever we're doing. I do believe that.
Into rooms, you do this like prayer circle, and you don't feel weird about doing that, having people, bend down in front of you and say that you're commanding demons, tell you their names. That feels.
Yeah. Nobody bends down in front of me. No one even has to close their eyes when we pray. We record every session on audio or video so that they can have it, so there's no miscommunication. And I don't know, you have to look at the fruit of what happens of people being set free, like Corby's wife, Melody. She said she had struggled with thoughts in her mind, negativeness, since she was 6. And when I prayed for her, she said she was set free. It saved her life. So I don't know how that could be so wrong.
I could think of a lot of ways that it could be wrong, but I don't want to debate your theology. I just want you to have the opportunity to explain it, which I think you did.
Now, I do want to touch base on something she said, because I'm not understanding why she's wording it the way she did. I'm Catholic, and I want to know basically who gives you the right to exorcise demons. Well, for those of you who don't know, most of you do at this point, I've been involved in the field of paranormal research since 1997. I've published 6 or 7 books on the subject of demons and ghosts and hauntings, in the whole spiritual realm. I have investigated scientifically, not like you see on TV, but real scientific research. There is a misconception that only a Catholic can exorcise a demon. There is a misconception that only Catholics can be exorcists. That is the furthest thing from the truth. In Catholicism, traditionally, formal exorcisms are restricted to authorized clergy. So if you are a Catholic, the only people in Catholicism that can exorcise demons without ticking off the church is authorized clergy. They have to authorize you to do it. But who cares? Who cares if you aren't Catholic? Who cares? Victor Marx is not Catholic. Christianity broadly, many Christians can pray against demonic oppression and evil spirits in the name of Jesus Christ. I know when something bad is happening, or when I feel that evil is around, I pray in the name of Jesus Christ. I don't have to have the Catholic's permission to try to stop a demon. Any Christian can do it. So Candace is being kind of misleading there. Like, who gave you permission to do that? I don't follow Catholicism. I am not Catholic, so I do not care. I am Baptist, and I can go after a demon just as much as any religion, or just as much as a Catholic. I mean, you've got the Catholics that do it. You've got Protestants that do it. You've got Eastern Orthodox churches that do it. Any kind of Christian, from practical and ethical standpoint, it's important not to assume that it has to be Catholics. It's important not to assume that everybody is possessed when they're acting weird. First and foremost, you want to tackle it from a psychological standpoint. They could just be mentally ill. There have been individuals that have died, murdered by Catholic priests, performing exorcisms, starving these people, and doing all this other stuff. And the individual dies. They blame a demon when it turns out that they just had mental issues. They were schizophrenic. They were psycho in some way. They had mental illness. So first and foremost, you got to determine that. And most Catholic preachers jump right to it's a demon. Okay? That is not how you research things. You got to do it scientifically first. If you come to the conclusion that there isn't any kind of mental illness, then let's move to the spiritual warfare. Okay? But don't do things that's going to harm that individual unless you know for sure. So this whole misconception that it can only be a Catholic is just that, guys. It is a misconception. And, Catholic exorcists themselves often require mental health evaluations. What's happening here? Which they should, because there is a fine line. You can't just look at, that's why one of my degrees is in psychology, because I was so fascinated with the spiritual realm and paranormal research and paranormal occurrences that I always believed you have to investigate the client, the person first, before investigating what they are claiming. But I just wanted to correct that, okay? Because she makes it out like you have to have permission to do that. No, you do not. Okay, let's get back to the video.
I do want to move on now to getting into some Turning Point USA stuff. So I had heard from Turning Point USA people that you also were doing prayers at the headquarters. Like you had a room where you would conduct some prayers. Is that correct?
I definitely prayed for a couple of people there. Yeah, sure. Including Charlie.
Did you pray over Charlie and Erica Kirk in one of these prayers?
I prayed for Charlie. Yes, I did. He asked me to.
And did you do this sort of a retooling angels, demons sort of prayer over him and Erica?
Just Charlie. He asked me to.
Okay. And they gave you an office to do this. Is that right?
I prayed for him in his office.
And also other people at Turning Point USA outside of Charlie?
I think there were 3 other people that I prayed for that asked for that. Yeah.
Okay. How did you meet Charlie and or Erica?
I was speaking at an event at a small Hispanic church in California, and Charlie was scheduled to speak, and the pastor asked me last minute to speak. I did, and it was before Charlie. He was a little aggravated that there was another speaker before him because it was a Sunday morning, and I knew about Charlie but never met him. And after I spoke, he spoke, and then we met back in a little makeshift green room. And he says, I've never heard of you, but I'm absolutely encouraged to hear your testimony and what God's done in your life. And he wanted me to have his number and stay connected. So we did. That's how it started.
And was that when he was already married to Erica, or was that a little bit before?
Yes, he was already married to Erica.
Did you meet them both at the same time or met her a bit later?
No, she was there.
Okay, somebody at Turning Point also conveyed to me, and again, this could be inaccurate, which is why I'm asking you, that there was this falling out period, that you and Charlie did have a little bit of a falling out. Is that correct?
No.
You never had a falling out with Charlie?
No.
Okay.
No.
That might have been, they might have had the wrong information.
Well, and I heard or saw that you said he unfollowed me, or we unfollowed each other. Somebody asked me that in another interview. I made them open up their phone, go to Instagram, go on Charlie's and see if he was following me. You can do it right now. He still follows me.
No, they said it was a period. It was the person had said it was a period. They weren't saying that it was forever. I was just figuring I'd ask you about that.
Yeah. No, okay, we never had a falling out.
Now you see, and this is just my takeaway, but Candace is so jealous of the relationships that Charlie had and that Erica currently still has, because Candace isn't part of the club. She was kicked out of the club and she can't stand it. So she's asking these questions to try to take something that Victor says and tie it to the assassination. That is all that is being done here. She is fishing. She is fishing to get him to say just one thing that she can twist. And he's doing so well with it that he was prepared. He knows the type of person Candace is. So you've got to be very self-aware of how you word things, or she will twist it and run with it for episode after episode after episode. But let's continue on here, guys. Let's see what she asks me next, because this is where I'm going to bring in information that I have from my personal experience on the day that Charlie died. So check this out.
Okay. Yeah. So obviously a big question that we have had is you were first to post a video that was later on removed saying that Charlie had passed. And this video was about an hour and 20 minutes before the president's announcement. It would have been to the minute about the time that his family found out that he had passed away. Or the people that were at the hospital have found out that he had passed away. So can you explain how you found that out and why you chose to remove the video?
Well, yeah, I'm first interested to find out why y'all think I was the first or one of the first, to do that. Because, a rough estimate, there's between 1 to 3 million pieces of social media content that are produced every second worldwide. And my team looked it up. If there's 180 million posts per minute, and let's just say the first 30 minutes, we're talking 5.4 billion posts in 30 minutes. How could y'all narrow it down? What type of technology could y'all do to narrow down that I was one of the first ones to post that he had passed?
Let's put it in a context that's easier. The first person in Charlie's orbit.
Okay, now what's interesting here, and I want to put this thought in your head. The post that they're discussing was when Victor had made a post and said that Charlie has died. Okay, he based that off of his own experiences, off of things that he has seen in military service. There just comes a time when you can ask people who has education in these things, which is what I'm going to get to with my wife. She is retired from the medical field. I've said this multiple times on my show that medical questions, I go directly to her. And we'll get into that when I get to that part of the show where I show my discussions with her when this was happening in real time. But Victor makes a good point. And this is a point I don't want you guys to overlook. Okay. His point is billions of posts were made at that moment. Okay. So how do you know that Victor was the actual first? Because my post that I'm going to show you here in a bit was also before Charlie Kirk, before the official announcement. Okay, I had posted he had died before the official announcement. Not even, maybe somewhere around 30 minutes, if that, after Victor did. But this is the part I really want you guys to wrap your head around. Like Victor said, billions of people posting at that moment, billions of posts. This post is deleted now. So this isn't something, he deleted it that day. He deleted it moments shortly after, right? So this isn't something that Candace or her crew could go back and find, right? So what does that tell you? That means at that moment, that day, she or somebody in her crew was stalking Victor Marx to know this, right? To know that he made that post. Because there's no way you can go back and find it now. He deleted it moments afterward. So that means she had somebody watching him. Which makes you wonder, which makes you go back and question, why did Candace say she had people watching Erica Kirk on September 8th? Why did she say she had people watching Erica Kirk before the assassination? I have people in your building, blah, 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 right? Why was she watching Victor Marx or having somebody on her team watch Victor Marx the day of Charlie Kirk's assassination? I think these are fair questions, especially considering that post was deleted moments after it was created that day. Okay? 8 months later, you can't go back and find it. So that means you saw it that day you were watching him. Right? Let's keep on.
That announced that information. And when we put it down to the minute, it was when Erica found out that Charlie had passed away. So I was wondering how that was.
Okay. I had someone text me And he said, my son is at Charlie's event and Charlie was just shot. And it doesn't look good. We went on it. I watched Charlie being shot one time. And my team, many who are former special operations guys and combat medics, lots of experience, they viewed it multiple times because I wouldn't. And they said, Charlie wouldn't live from that. And I knew it. I knew the only time I saw it, I knew there's no way he could have survived that. And when I made a post and said, you know, Charlie's passed, of course, I know Frank Turret, I know the security teams. I put it up, and then I didn't see anybody else posting it. I thought it was premature, and I pulled it down because it just felt wrong that I would post it. But I wanted people to pray. And then I contacted Erica through a text and told her. I just told her, nobody's going to kill you. You're safe. You and the kids. No one's coming after you. They just wanted Charlie. And I was just trying to reassure her. Because
you declared he was dead on the basis of people saying it didn't look good.
On the basis of people, myself included, who've held dead and dying men from combat in horrible situations. And anybody who saw the killing and has that experience, we knew he was dead instantly.
Okay, so now I want to kind of back Victor there because I did the same thing, my friends. There's a phone call. Give me 1 second. This is Stephen. They do, but that's the store next door. Oh, you good, man? Hey, you too, my friend. Take care. All right, sorry about that. Where was I? Okay. So I purposely did not say the store name. Because I've got some psychos out there sending me death threats. Anyway, so, I did the same thing. My wife retired 25 years from the medical field. She has seen people die of stab wounds, gunshot wounds, just about everything imaginable tenfold. She was a wound care nurse. Okay, so she knows wounds, right? And how to care for them or if they can even be cared for. And what Candace is saying is that Charlie Kirk's death was publicly announced by President Trump at 2:40 Mountain Time, okay, which is what Victor lives under. Me, I'm East Coast, so that would have been 4:40. Well, what she's trying to point out is 50 minutes after Charlie was shot was 1:13 p.m. Utah Mountain Time, okay? So she's trying to say that Victor posted this before the official announcement, which he did. But so did I. And so did many other people that were basically going off experience. I have an email thread back and forth with my wife asking her, from her professional opinion, is Charlie going to survive this? And she said, no, he's not, right? And I'm going to show you that here in a second. And you heard what Victor said, his own experience of holding people who had been shot, experience of talking to other people. You just kind of knew. Okay, so you can see Victor's post where he was saying, lifting up Charlie Kirk in prayer. This is not the deleted post, but it was the same day, around the same time that he deleted the post where he said Charlie was dead. And, I kind of felt the same way. I mean, I've made my post and I'm looking around like, man, nobody else has posted this. I'm going off what my wife said in her professional opinion. What if he doesn't die? Then I'm going to look like, that guy, like I was starting a misinformation campaign or whatnot. So I deleted my original post that said the same thing. Okay. Because I was going by that, but which I'm about to show you on the screen here. Let me find it right there. It is. Let me put this up on the screen for you guys. Okay, this I posted at 3:43 Eastern, right? Which was about 30 minutes after Victor posted his about Charlie Kirk's death. Okay, here's the post that I made on Wednesday, September 10th at 3:43 Eastern time. Okay, this was 30 minutes after Victor made his post that Charlie had died. This is what I said. I am reflecting on the incredible contributions of Charlie Kirk, a man whose vision, courage, and dedication shaped the lives of countless people, including my own. Charlie was a loving family man who cared deeply about our country and its people, always acting with kindness and integrity without a hidden agenda. His passion for free speech, free thinking, and open debate was not just inspiring, it was transformative. Charlie never shied away from hearing other perspectives, engaging thoughtfully, even when opinions differed, and challenging us to think critically and boldly in our own conversations. His work, leadership, and unwavering commitment to the principles he believed in will leave a lasting mark. Beyond his public accomplishments, he leaves behind a family who loved him dearly and a community that will deeply miss his energy, guidance, and vision. My thoughts are with his wife and children during this profoundly difficult time. Personally, Charlie's influence helped me grow in my own debates and discussions. His example reminded me that true conviction comes hand in hand with openness to dialogue, a lesson I will carry forward always. Rest in peace, Charlie Kirk. Your legacy of courage, curiosity, love for family, and commitment to freedom of thought will continue to inspire us. That is my post. All right, that is my post. Before President Trump announced his death, which would have been at 4:40 Eastern time. So an hour before, a little over an hour before, I had posted he was dead. Where are you, Candace? Why aren't you blaming me? Right? So an hour before it was officially announced by President Trump, I posted what I just read to you. And 30 minutes before I made that post, Victor Marx posted that he was dead. So I'm failing to see what you're trying to get at, other than you trying to fool your audience into thinking Victor was involved in some way. And that's just stupid in itself. Because if he was involved in it in some way, why would he make a post about it? Why wouldn't he wait until the official announcement and then post? But posting it early, that would make you look guilty, right? Which is what you were trying to get at. Well, I posted mine early too, before his official death. Now, I will pull up on the screen what prompted me to go ahead and say he was dead. This was the messaging. And as you can see on the screen, my wife had set the background for I Know What You Did Last Summer, because that was one of the wallpaper options or whatever. I sent her the video, the actual footage of Charlie being shot, which I'm not going to play for you, but it was just the 9 seconds of his wound and all of the blood gushing out. And I said to my wife, it will be a damn miracle if he survives. At 3:37 p.m. on 9/10, she came back, yeah, he is dead. That was her professional opinion. So I said, where did you hear that? Is that confirmed or just your professional thought? Then I said something irrelevant to the conversation. I said that shot was right to the neck. Then again, I said something that was irrelevant to the conversation. But then she comes back with, that was a lot of blood loss from the get-go, just a professional opinion. And then I said, I know, baby, he died. But he hadn't yet, officially. So it's just, it's just professional opinions. Like, the man's not going to survive. It's going to be a miracle if he does. So I went ahead, just like Victor, and said Charlie was dead. All right, my friends, I want you to check this out as a commercial break. And we'll come right back, continue on with the discussion. Got some really interesting things ahead. Some of you may have seen this already on YouTube or Facebook. If not, here it is. Let's get this party started.
If it hadn't been for Candace on the show, we'd have had hard off a long time ago. Where the facts all go, nobody knows where they disappear to. Down below, I know that's all she say. Everything is fake and gay. Every week it's another rodeo. Round and round goes Candace on the go-go. Came to town with the live stream glow, talking real fast on the radio. Big dramatic pause, a scary little charts, but the timeline's falling all apart. I know, trust me friend, and the theories twist and bend again. Everybody talking wow and rose while the evidence quietly tiptoes. If it hadn't been for Candace on the show, we have solved the mystery long ago. Where the hard facts go, nobody knows. Probably hiding where the logic don't go. I know she say all day. Everything is fake and gay. Smoke machine and dramatic glow. Here comes Candace on the go-go. She brought confusion everywhere she went. Every clip became a giant event. Followers dancing like a county fair. Meanwhile, proof just wasn't there. Big bold claims and a camera stare. Every live stream turned theatrical flair. Question marks flying coast to coast, but certainty showed up the most. Fiddle playing, comments blazing. Everybody online debating. One side yelling, show receipts. Other side dancing to the beat. If it hadn't been for Candace on the show, the algorithm might have moved too slow. Where the reason go, nobody knows, but the super chats continue to flow. I know, she say with sway. Everything is fake and gay. Round and round the theories blow. Long live Candace on the go-go.
Tastes like chicken. All right, my friends, we are back. Let the racial accusations start flying, because you know somebody's going to grab a hold of that and be like, oh, Faxme's racist again. He puts a black woman with chicken. Look, I'm going to be the first to tell you, I eat chicken wings like a madman. All right. That's not a black thing, right? That's just an awesome thing. So if you're black and you eat chicken wings, you okay by me. I would eat. I was telling Jay Witt when I had him on the show, I think before we started the show, maybe during the show, I don't remember. Dude, I'd eat chicken wings every day. Hot wings. Oh, dude, I am a hot sauce connoisseur, man. Let me tell you. You guys know I collect things. I have an entire cabinet full of exotic hot sauces. Just, don't even get me started. Don't even get me started. Well, that's what we need. We need a Fax Me hot sauce. That's what we need. Fax Me hot sauce. That's right. Anyways, sidetracked. All right, guys, you just checked out that new hit dance tune. And you know, I've had a lot of people say I don't get it. Well, here's what's to get. Candace Owens wears god-awful clothes, and she wore this stupid-ass dress on her show during the whole Time Magazine Vile Person of the Year saga. And, of course, everybody made fun of it because it was absolutely ridiculous. You know, my grandmother said she wouldn't even use that for her tablecloth. But anyways, she looked like a bird. You know, some people said she looked like the dinosaur that fans out and shoots the venom, you know. Anyway, I saw a chicken, and I know she's chicken because she won't debate any of us. That's why there's a chicken, guys. Has nothing to do with the color of her skin or the color she wants her skin to be. Okay, so let's move on, because this is kind of a big deal, and we're seeing the beginning stages of it. But we do know, you don't need a survey to tell you this. You don't need anybody to tell you this. You can see it for yourself. Podcasters, influencers, political commentators, there is a reason they are called influencers, because they influence. And now more than ever, that influence is being super monitored. Okay. Now, I don't want you to take this the wrong way. Okay. So I'm going to explain it to you, in layman terms. But what you're seeing on the screen is the White House just released a 16 page, counterterrorism strategy. All right. Which is about people talking crap about the country. Long story short, however they are choosing to do it. Now, what does this mean for podcasters and influencers? Well, basically, and I typed this up because I just wanted to make sure I wasn't being too technical about it. Okay. The administration is prioritizing, identifying, and neutralizing violent secular political groups. Okay. Now, when you think of that, you're thinking terrorism, you're thinking third world countries with their terrorism groups. We have them here. But you know what? Influencers and podcasters can be viewed that way as well. Okay. Basically what that in that 16 pages says is anti-American, radically pro-transgender, anarchist, okay, international ties. Okay. Now those things you take and tie them to, let's say, Candace Owens. She has international ties. She is anti-American. She's anti a lot of things. Okay. Her audience doesn't think so, but we know so. So the danger zone for people like Candace, Nick Fuentes, Baron Coleman's, if their content incites violence, which how many times have assassins admitted that Candace Owens has been their inspiration? Okay, that's inciting violence. Coordinated harassment and threats. That's Candace all day long. She just threatened to stab Tim Pool the other day. Right? She threatened to stab Erica Kirk. She's got her fans offering bounty, a $10,000 bounty for information on Erica Kirk. That is harassment. That is threatening. If these podcasters are tied to fundraising for violent groups, doxing. Candace had an entire website for doxing. Let's not forget, right? Provide operational help or knowingly amplify foreign terror-linked influence. Okay? What has she been on this huge anti-Jew, anti-Israel campaign? Right? And that's going to segue into a little bit of Israel talk here shortly. But for someone like Candace Owens or any political podcaster, even myself, I'm not strictly politics. I'm social commentary, social issues. We talk about entertainment, whatever. I'm trying to give you a mix of Lancaster, right? Not just being stuck into one thing. But it absolutely, what the White House is presenting there absolutely affects the influencer world. Okay? If a creator builds narratives that inspire real world threats, coordinates with extremist ecosystems, or becomes part of a foreign amplified disinformation network, that could draw investigation, kids. So let's take a look to springboard off of that and to kind of accompany what I've just been talking about. Let's take a look. There was a recent survey done, and this is a case study. Sorry, a case study. I don't know why I said survey. A case study on information warfare in 2025, and the basis of it was the Charlie Kirk assassination, as you guys can see on the screen. They're talking about the immediate aftermath of the Charlie Kirk assassination, foreign accounts, Russian ties, Iranian ties, the whole trying to start a civil war, foreign bots and sock puppets. Is this all sounding familiar? Right, guys? I don't even have to spell it out for you. But moving on from that, you see the people that they're discussing in this. Let me throw this one up on the screen for you. Look there to the right. Who is that? Andrew Tate. Right? They've got their eyes on Andrew Tate, who is facing legal proceedings in Romania and in the United States over sex crimes and human trafficking. Right? He posted Civil War roughly 90 minutes after the shooting, and it generated 19 million views. Okay? So anybody listening to Andrew Tate, why, I don't know, 19 million people saw that. Him posting Civil War. So that's the kind of stuff they are watching. Civil War has begun. 10 million users. All right? We keep going down the line. Look who else is listed in this. Let me bring this up on the screen. All right, you see homeboy down there in the corner, right? But what's it say at the top? Candace Owens aired a YouTube episode, 1.6 million views, and an accompanying X post alleged that RFK Jr. is being blackmailed by foreign actors. And this was taking and looking at the percentage of people, that bought into it or that saw it, So they're watching. Guys, they are watching. Now you look here, this next screenshot I'll bring up, and this is based on like Christian values. And this I find hilarious. Okay. You go down the line here, support for Candace Owens as far as Christians are concerned has dropped to 16%. 16%. Okay. And she wants to play this conservative, which we all know she's a blue playbook conservative. That's why she's dropped to 16% with Christians. She wants to claim she's Christian and doing everything under the eyes of God. No, you're not. We see it. We all see it. But moving to this next screenshot where they conclude on it. The conclusion is so telling, guys. Let me pop this up on the screen for you too. Popping that up. Okay, foreign actors are following a Russian disinformation playbook to weaponize domestic crises like the Charlie Kirk assassination. So they're trying to monitor this stuff and almost in a predictive way, like we see what's coming, that kind of thing, political ideologies, and the audience response. So what we're going to start seeing, the direction moving towards podcasters and influencers can be considered domestic terrorists when they are inciting violence and stalking and harassment. So Candace, you are on the radar there, and I know you're going to spin this into something exciting, but it's not. It's exciting for us. It's bad news for you. Which, frankly, it was a long time coming. And I don't think any of you factivists can even argue with that. So the next thing, guy's name I couldn't remember early on, Theo Vaughn, homeboy to Candace Owens, they had a little discussion about foreign money, okay? And Candace's big thing is Israel this, Jews that, hate, right? The exact polar opposite of Charlie Kirk, right? She's trying to sell you that that's the direction Charlie Kirk was going, but there is not a single clear-headed individual that would ever believe that. Okay? So let's check out just a little snippet of this interview with Theo Vaughn and Candace Owens and talking about this money, okay, from Israel. That's her big focus there. And then we're going to come back and I'm going to show you the reality of what she is saying. Check this out.
You connect a lot of dots between like Israel in media, right? But do you think that it's just capitalism? Like, don't you think a lot of times it's just business, and that's how business works, is that they're, like it's one of the side effects of capitalism?
If that were the case, so the reason why this is different is because Israel is actually the exception. They are the only country that's allowed to lobby Americans. Like everyone else has to register as a foreign agent and under FARA.
Like with APAC or whatever?
Yeah, so APAC, the backstory, by the way, before JFK got shot, he was fighting APAC. They were previously called, I'm blanking on this, you can look it up. And he was literally saying you have to register under the Foreign Act.
Is that true? Let's look it up.
1000% true, and you should look it up. We should fact check that live. He was fighting with what is today known as APAC. Was renamed AZCPA. I don't know what that stood for.
In 1959, AZCPA was renamed APAC, and American Israel Public Affairs Committee, reflecting a broader membership and mission.
Yeah, so JFK told them that they had to register under FARA. And so American Zionist Council, that's exactly what it was called.
Okay, American Zionist Council was a pro-Israel lobby in the United States founded in 1949. It represented 9 nationwide Zionist organizations in matters related to...
See at the bottom there? In 1962, look at the last paragraph. In 1962,
President John F. Kennedy and his brother Bobby, as a U.S. Attorney General, forced the AZC to register as a foreign agent. In doing so, they were barred from making monetary contributions to U.S. officials. Who was barred? AZC?
Yeah, so APAC, for lack of a better term. They were called AZC back then, but continued to send out newsletters and hold events with a nonprofit tax exemption. Mm-hmm. And then what happened was he was shot. So he literally, they were writing him letters. You can find this. This is all this is available information. And he was like, you need to register. And then we told you to register. Why are you not registering? This makes no sense. And then APAC got lucky because he got shot and killed.
What also you could
So they are the reason why I'm bringing this up is not to further conspiracy theories. They're the only country that's allowed to lobby Americans that are not registered under the FARA Act. And so when you see these
under the what act?
FARA. So that's like if you're a foreign agent, you have to basically register, your communications are monitored, all of this stuff. But for whatever reason, Israel is an exception to this. And the reason is because JFK got shot, because otherwise they would have been under this. So that is the reason that they're allowed to do this. And so, when this... And then, of course, we're not allowed to read the files, but leading up to his death, he was having arguments with the prime minister, Ben Gurion. That's a fact, another fact. He was having heated arguments with Ben Gurion, and then the problem, look it up. JFK
the Foreign Agents Registration Act is a U.S. law that requires people and entities working on behalf of foreign governments to register with the Department of Justice.
Mm-hmm. So it drives me insane to see these absolute frauds. Like when they go, oh, Russia spent $1 million, or whatever they said. I remember they came after Lauren Chen, and they're like, there is idea that Russia spent money, and they'll say something like $26,000, or they spent $3 million, and influenced the election. And all of these people will be taking money from APAC, but they're like, oh, well, APAC got lucky. Well, JFK got shots.
But wasn't the Russia story that was figured out to be a facade, right?
But when you hear these people in your government saying this, you should know how fraudulent they are, because they all are taking money from Israel. And so it's like, yes, is Israel doing it legally because a president got shot? Sure, but it's wrong. A country should not be able to lobby to get what they want and control our congressmen. And you get to see them flex that muscle, TikTok and things of nature when they are now interfering with our speech, and they'll get laws passed really quickly. It allows literally a foreign country to make decisions in our nation. Lobbying should just not be allowed, full stop. So instead they go, oh, well, you're focusing on it because they're Jewish. No, you're just the only country that's allowed to do it. I would feel the same way if there was a Chinese lobby that was spending. To do it? No, there's no other country that's allowed to do this but Israel. Only APAC. There's no other country that everyone else has to register under the FARA Act, and that changes things significantly. APAC is the only, American Israel PAC, whatever it is, that's allowed to spend $100 million in our elections and not be called names. Like if could you imagine if Russia spent $100 million in our elections? If there was a Russia PAC or a Chinese PAC, and they were just allowed to spend that kind of money to lobby and pay our politicians to say things and to believe in things, and that should make people angry. That should make people angry, irrespective. Like I said, it could be any country.
Unless, right, I agree with you that it's amazing.
Or let them all do it.
Right. If like America is owned by Israel or something, or part ownership or whatever, just tell us that.
Right. Well, they don't want to.
Like that's a weird thing I don't understand. Like
because then you wouldn't sign up for wars. You would start to question things in a different way. And so it becomes important for the government to keep Americans ignorant of how Congress works, what's going on, so that they believe their congressman when they go on a rant and say, Israel's our friend and ally, and they don't know how to just very easily look up and see whether this guy's taking money, or when someone says, this vaccine's going to save your life, and they don't know, what's happened with the CDC, or people don't even have basic civics understanding, but that's by design.
Like, because I don't like what Israel, like their space in Gaza, right? Like that to me is just like seems super tyrannical. But didn't they just come up with a thing today about the ICC? They can't prosecute Netanyahu?
Yeah, because he runs shit.
Is that today?
Yeah, he's like the ultimate grand gangster. He's like, even when they catch him doing the crimes, and we created this court for exactly what it did, they said, you can't do this. Then they say, well, just cancel the courts. Can you imagine being like that much of a worldwide gangster? It's crazy.
Right. And I wish they would just say, look, we're still letting everybody be gangsters, because that's what I don't like about the media a lot of times. There's this thing. It's like we all need to look out for each other, and we need like climate change, and we need to make sure that everybody has a safe place to urinate and all those things, which, yeah, I think all those things are important or worth discussion. But at the same time, you'll have countries that are still playing this Fidel Castro type of role. So it's like, why do we keep saying all these little things are important, but you can just say, hey, we're still in colonial, or we're still in the old school days, and shit is what it is.
Yeah.
So fucking mark off your fence yard and protect your fucking shit, because that's what countries are doing. Like that's how they're operating, but they're trying to create ambiance that makes us feel like we can't operate like that, or you're a bad person if you do operate like that.
Right. They're actually morally pretentious. They're pretending it's like, oh, we've just gotten, we're so dignified, we would never do this. Look, if it's the rules of the jungle, it's the rules of the jungle. Let us know.
Right. That's it. That's my biggest thing.
It's this illusion of we're better. We would never. Oh, because of World War II. You're doing all of it, right? You're violating every single one of these codes that you put into place. And if you're going to do it because I'm big and you're small, then say that. So like the small guys know what's up. It's the rules of the jungle.
That's my thing. I just want to know what the rules are. If America is owned by China and Israel and Taiwan, just tell me that. Let me know, like, because at a certain point, if you keep,
What you're talking about, by the way, there's a term for it. It's called real politicking.
Real politicking?
Yeah. So I did
That's all I want. I
foreign
just want
policy
to know.
paper. It's like, I'd rather know that we're working with cartels in South America, because we are, right?
Yeah.
And like, that's cool, CIA, like whatever. But just like, please stop the pretentious, your face. Oof.
Yeah, that's
the American government. It's the scoffing. We would never. Yes, you would. Yes, you have. And yes, you are. And people that know real politicking.
Let me look at real politicking. Is the approach of conducting diplomatic or political policies based primarily on considerations of given circumstances and factors rather than strictly following ideological, moral, or ethical premises.
Right. And so if they're like, yeah, here's the thing, cartels are getting big in the South. And so, yeah, morally, we shouldn't work with the cartels. But also, if we let the cartels keep growing and El Chapo keep growing, then you know what? Then Mexico could become stronger than us. So we're going to do deals with the cartel. Like that's realpolitik, right?
Or say, Israel is we are partners to the end, and this is how it is.
Yeah.
Like, I'm kind of conflicted about Trump, like with his stance on Gaza, right? To me, that's like,
I totally disagree with him on it. And it's like, it's hard to reconcile it in many ways. It's hard to reconcile because I see so much hypocrisy in terms of when we say America first, for whatever reason, we have this magic carve out. And you cannot pretend that that's not because AIPAC spends $100 million in our election. And this gets back to what we were talking about, whether it's Big Pharma, whether it's Israel, everyone's for sale in DC. And so I have been very disappointed with Trump on his perspectives about Gaza. I have been disappointed, by the way, he's the last person I'm disappointed with, because I've been disappointed, as we saw all last year, with the conservatives, people that say they're Christians, who are condoning this on the basis of what? Like, you're saying, oh, well, they're Muslims, so who cares? And that gets into our programming, which I've spoken about in my podcast, of this 9/11 programming, where we just don't see Muslims as like human life. And to me, to speak about Gaza and talking about casinos and hotels, and these people just lost their entire families. It's so far removed from humanity. And I think it's wrong, and I'm tired of America being used as Israel's piggyback. You know, for whatever reason, everyone can critique every other country for taking money from us, and then there's just everyone's blind when it comes to Israel. And obviously, I paid a very heavy price for saying that last year, but I don't care because I am truly someone whose values have never been up for sale. Like I don't care. I will burn everything to the ground and rebuild it. I have to be able to like sleep at night and to see those Palestinian children, and the images are seared into my brain. The screaming, the crying, the bleeding, the stuff that we saw on X for the first time, largely thanks to Elon freeing the bird, and really realizing how much we had been lied to about what was happening in that region. I just, it was very easy for me to say, take whatever you have to take from me. I have to be on like the human side of things.
I think it's become both sides of the aisle now just see that, yeah, human people just feel like this is just, that it's just wrong.
Of course.
What's happened is wrong. Like probably a year ago, people were afraid to even say that. And now it is what everybody is saying. Like even Piers Morgan is saying it on his show now. Like people are saying it's obvious that you can't go and annihilate and genocide this culture and make them disappear. And then Trump to come on top of it and say they're going to build, you're going to go on a lazy river where there's bodies of like, who could even go to that?
And what's so crazy is the mainstream media thinking that we're so stupid that they're going to condition us to believe that to not support the ethnic cleansing, they're then going to mine our like preconditioned beliefs about the Holocaust and be like, oh, well, you know, a Jewish person died. So like, if you don't agree with what we're doing over here, then you're a person that wants more Jewish people to die. It's like, this is an evil way to try to socially engineer what you want, because actually it's precisely because of what I learned growing up about Holocaust and ethnic cleansings that I do not support what the state of Israel is doing. And you're trying to convince me that it means that if anybody's been wronged in the past, they can't wrong people in the future. You're also wrongly conflating like a Jewish American. Why? You have nothing to do with what's going on in Israel. This is a foreign country. You know, no more than if right now we were standing up to a genocide that was happening in Ghana.
Yeah.
And then when I'm going to be like, oh, well, if you don't support what, you know, the president of Ghana wants to do, then you want American slavery back. I'm like, it's like, what are you talking about? Just because I'm black and like maybe my family is from Ghana, why on earth would I not be able to critique a foreign country for something that they're doing that is so objectively wrong?
Yeah.
And so it's disappointed me as someone who just had so much respect and belief in the conservative movement and believing that it was a principled movement, and Christians as well. I've been very disappointed in Christians who are trying to use this like biblical argument for just, well, no matter what, like, you know.
Are people doing that?
Yeah, it's pretty sick, man. It is very sick. They're basically saying that the Bible, you know, the Bible will bless those who bless Israel. And I'm like, okay, so we have a country who first and foremost doesn't have to give us back our pedophiles. Literally, they have this weird rule that you can go if you're Jewish and hide as a pedophile, and actually an amazing Jewish organization did the work there. You could pull it up. I think it was on CBS. I forgot what the name of the Jewish organization, but they went to Israel and was like, why are we harboring pedophiles?
So there was a Jewish organization that they had pedophiles.
They did amazing. No, they were not the pedophiles. They did the investigation to show how people are using, how like people who have molested children in America, if they're Jewish, they can then make their trip to Israel and be protected by the government. And Israel doesn't have to they literally don't have to,
exposing.
CBS News, that's the second one.
How Jewish American
You will not find a single person who says that that's wrong.
Hide from justice in Israel. But can't they hide, can't most people say so these are people that are Israeli citizens?
No, they can then become Israeli citizens. They're American. Right. So if they're being on a trial, you get to Israel, they'll protect you. And so they went to where all these, you know, pedophiles are, and spoke a lot about, you know, this, or I can't remember the name of the organization, but they did amazing work there. Jewish Community Watch, that's what it is. And so that's what I mean, where it's like there's also this wrong conflation that annoys me as well, because you have Jewish organizations who will objectively say this is wrong. They recognize they are Americans. They don't support pedophiles. And yet the mainstream media is trying to conflate them and make them think that they have to defend the actions of this state. And yeah, if you even talk about this, so say it's anti-Semitic, talk about this. What are you talking about? You're taking billions. That's the difference here. This is a country that is taking billions and billions and billions. It's an American welfare state, you know? And CBS jumped on it. A CBS News investigation has found that many accused American pedophiles flee to Israel, and bringing them justice can be difficult.
Okay, has been trying for years to find
Caro's
Caro
one
and
of
help
them.
bring to justice. So Jimmy Caro, he's a wanted man and is considered dangerous, accused of assaulting a 9-year-old girl in Oregon in 2000. He fled to Israel before authorities in the U.S. could apprehend him. But is this just one guy?
No. So this is a story about how they are doing this. Like, it's the main story is like that they were investigating is that there's so many people that did this.
Why do they allow it?
Because they have special consideration and they are not allowed. They don't have to give us back our pedophiles. I don't know. I never understand these random Israeli loopholes, and it's ridiculous. And the fact that they can just call people anti-Semitic, like it's just like a sweeping allegation. How dare you notice that this is happening over here? You anti-Semite, and it's like we have every right to critique this nation because you take money from us, especially, right? That means when we go to work and taxes are being taken away, we're paying to support this.
Well,
and then we're being gaslit by the media who's telling us that critiquing them in any way is an act of hatred for Jews, which is just such a nonsense.
Oh, I don't like that Netanyahu guy, man.
I hate him.
That guy seems like an evil guy to me, and I think he's seemed like that to most people now because of, mostly I think it's just like nobody wants war or anything, and we're lucky to live in a place where, like Tennessee's not at war with Kentucky, so there's not like the risk every day or night of things flying over, the fence. But I've thought that America is a kind of like a shell company sometimes. But maybe it's always just been that way. Like that's the thing. Like maybe it's always been that way. Maybe it isn't. I just would like to know what it is, right? So then it's like you can operate within the reality of things.
Yeah.
But then also people say that, like, well, why do you think there's such a strong relationship between the two countries then?
Blackmail. I think blackmail. And I think this is the reason why we don't get to open the Epstein files. We don't get to open the JFK files. And I think it's a form of gaslighting us to pretend that our special friend and ally isn't just and by the way, parking aside America, other countries too. You investigate anything. I mean, I'm investigating Brigitte Macron, and Israeli blackmail comes up in Morocco. Israeli blackmail comes up in. So to pretend that we don't know that Israel is involved in blackmail operations is foolish. And again,
I think all countries are probably involved in them.
And I think that they have been like they have gotten it down to a science. And there's no question in my mind that like sexual blackmail is what Jeffrey Epstein was involved in. And I don't know if that means these people don't know when they go to these parties that the girls are underage, and then it's like, haha, we've got you on tape, whatever it is. And we can even, taking a look at the Diddy case, blackmail, these powerful blackmail operations are definitely operating. And
that's actual blackmail too.
Yeah, it's true blackmail. I mean, if you have hidden cameras and you're capturing people doing drugs, private equity for 4.5 years.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And that's
in
why it's
municipal bonds?
Not in municipal bonds and private equity.
Into some.
Mm-hmm.
It's going pretty. I mean, it is. It's what do you mean it's going good? It's set percent.
Yeah. So, but they pretty much like you can't live in New York City and hate Jews. They're literally everywhere. But that's kind of been one of the worst things about the politicizing of this is exactly what you're talking about. My perception of Jewish people is being someone who grew up in New York, that they work hard, they grind, they fight, they love. You can get into an argument with them. They don't take themselves seriously. You can say whatever and then be out to dinner. And to see the branding of that now, like this like victim mentality.
All right, so you guys just check that out. Now, what you are seeing on the screen is the top 10 foreign spenders on U.S. lobbying and influence from 2016 to 2024. I had to stop at 2024 because that's where the most accurate numbers end. We don't have enough data to do 2025 yet accurately. Anyway, we could guess, but we're trying to stick as close to the real numbers as possible. But as you can see on the screen, the number one influence on the United States is China. $446 million spent on U.S. lobbying and influence. Next to Japan, next to Liberia, South Korea. It goes on down the line. And who is dead last at number 10? Israel. $189 million from 2000, almost 10 years, over a 10-year span. 8, whatever. They're dead last. But Candace would have you believe that they are number one, right? They are trying to influence our government so bad, more than anybody. Right there's the numbers. Now, in all fairness, she is talking a lot about AIPAC, right? Now, Israel does use that to bring in funds to the United States to influence U.S. lobbying, blah, blah, blah. Okay. However, even considering that, they don't beat China. So even taking the AIPAC stuff with this, which is by law, as you can see on the screen, if you guys aren't familiar with the Foreign Agents Registration Act, FARA, okay, I think you heard Candace mention that as well. You have to give up this information. It's for transparency, right? The foreign influence activities to protect the United States democracy. So FARA, these are your totals. China sitting at 446 million. And Israel at the bottom with only 189. Even considering the other groups that Israel donates through, or however you want to say it, funds, it still doesn't beat China's number. So China is the number one threat as far as influence across everything. So this whole Israel thing, Candace, you're giving people false information. And that interview with Theo kind of really shows that she focused more on the AIPAC thing and threw in some JFK conspiracy stuff. Now that stuff's true. Okay. That he was going to do this. He died and, it never got to happen. That stuff's true. But what she's doing is she diverted and deflected with a truth. Okay. She didn't come back and say, well, if you took the FARA totals and the AIPAC totals and put them together, Israel's not even at the top still. She didn't say that. She just said that they're sending money through AIPAC and nobody else is as far as this list. So blah, 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 which that's true. But when you put the totals together, it's not as damning as she is trying to make it out to be. So there is that. So guys, we have covered Victor Marx today. We have covered Candace's new viral cuckoo Candace chicken dance, or whatever we're going to call it, guys, right? We have covered these numbers of funding, donations, whatever you want to call it. China, even considering all of them, is doing it more than Israel. So Candace is just full of crap. She's got her own agenda, and that, again, is why the White House is watching, my friends. And then, of course, we talked about the Charlie Kirk death, and people posted, and I'm sure you guys could go back to your old post too. I'm sure you saw people posting that he was dead far before it was announced. I had posted he was dead far before it was officially announced, just based on common sense, and Candace is trying to turn it into some big conspiracy. Well, again, I posted it just like Victor did. I'm not catching any heat. So clearly you have an agenda when it comes to Victor Marx. And guys, we all see it. And I'm just not going to let that happen. Not to my factivists. I'm not going to let my factivists think Victor Marx is a bad person or how Candace is trying to paint him, when that is so far from the truth. But guys, I want to appreciate you hanging out with me. It looks like we made it as far as the content I'm showing on today's show without any interruptions from customers. But I guarantee you here late this afternoon, this place is going to be wall to wall people. But that's okay. They're all boomers and Gen X. So it's all people I get along with. Don't have to worry about that. But guys, I want to close out the show with my new music video. You guys know I'm a musician. I've been playing guitar, piano, drums, singing since I was 5 years old. I've been in a band since 1998. I've done various side projects with the band Brother Grimm, my main band, Phantom Music Box. I've done solo stuff. I've done music for movies. Anyways, actually, I just did music for a independent film last October. It was more musical score type stuff. And I did do one song for him for the end credits or whatever. But anyways, nothing major, guys. I don't write hits. Okay, I'm not going to write your 2-minute pop hit or whatever. I like more emotional, philosophical stuff. But with that being said, I have officially released a song of mine called Pain. There are multiple versions of it. I have just an acoustic version. I have more of a modern version, but my love has always been the elaborate scene of 80s metal and the 80s vocals, you know, your Jeff Tate, your Sebastian Bach, your Bon Jovi, stuff like that. But check this out, guys. This song, like I said, has had many iterations. This by far is my favorite, making it more hard rock 80s style ballad. But check it out. It's about my struggle with alcoholism. I think I told you guys I struggled with alcoholism for 20 plus years. And this September 15th, to be exact, will be 6 years sober with me. And so now you know the context of the song. You know, you'll hear things like blessing and a curse, because that's what alcohol was to me. It was a blessing because it fixed everything, but it was also a curse because it would fix problems, but it would also create problems. You know how that goes. Anyone who's been an alcoholic completely knows what I'm talking about. But check this out, guys. It's my latest music video. I hope you enjoy it. From one old Gen Xer boomer guy to another. I appreciate you, Factivists. Thanks for hanging out today. I'm going to run. I've got some people that are about to walk into the store, so this is perfect timing. Check this out, guys. I will see you guys throughout the day across all of social media. And just in case I don't, I hope you all have a safe and happy Memorial Day weekend. And much love and gratitude to our men and women in service. Greatly appreciate our military guys. Take care, my friends.
Suffering from bliss can make my escape from this. Chain the bottle to my brain, a maze of haze, amaze my taste. Hey, do you feel the same way? Hey, do you steal the shame? Hey, do you breathe like I do? Hey, do you scream like I do? Drink away and fade away. My blessing and my curse come first. Mad whispering from everyone can't take my fate from what's done. Crave the bottle and welcome rage. God save me from this glass cage. Hey, do you feel the same way? Hey, do you steal the shame? Hey, do you breathe like I do? Hey, do you scream like I do? Drink away and fade away. My blessing and my curse come first. The sound of pain, dropping from my veins. Hey, do you feel the same way? Hey, do you steal the shame? Hey, do you breathe like I do? Hey, do you scream like I do? Drink away and fade away. My blessing and my curse come first.
Why don't you respond to what I did? Why don't you respond to what I said? Why don't you go point from point? Why don't you sit down and debate me? If anybody would like to with the platform who makes videos about me, would like to actually sit down.
Hey, yes, I'm here for the Candace debate. She invited anybody that made videos about her to come and debate. There's nobody here. The studio's empty.
Just like the fake and gay starts a lie, then she starts grifting. Coo, 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 coo. Just like the